Okay, so as usual on these, real name and a real photo to leave comments, otherwise it's not gonna happen. I want to talk to you in this video something I haven't done before, and that's specific resources for a specific language learning, and that would be French. I want to start out by talking about a resource that some people know about, but they have not used completely. I know few people who have actually used the complete package, as it were, and that is French in Action, done by Yale University. It was the more or less brainchild of Pierre Capret's. It's a continuation of a professor that he worked with. You can look that up if you have time. Now, this was filmed and done in the 1980s. It influenced some other programs. It influenced a German program, I forgot the name of that, to influence Destinos in Spanish, but neither one are as good as the French in Action. And a lot of people have seen some of the episodes on PBS. They can still see those in North America, but that is hardly the entire program. The entire program is a whole brain learning approach. This is left brain and right brain. There's TPR, there's modeling, there's functional use, which is very important of the language, and it consists of DVDs or audiovisual or videotapes in the old days, then a textbook, which is quite large, a workbook with also CDs or audio cassettes, which you are to use. Now, all this together is quite a bit. It covers it very thoroughly. The TV episodes are not anywhere near the depth that you go through in the entire program. Now, you combine that also with a class that you attend that covers the aspects of what you've done on your own, and it's a very powerful method. It doesn't use translation, like I said, so you're having to use the language from day one, and it's real, and understand it as its own language. This is very powerful. Now, most people don't understand this. They want to talk about it as if they do understand. It's like if people want to talk about FSI or DLI, who have never been there, they don't know about it. They want to tell you about the wolf by seeing a track in the snow. They just don't know. The cult of the amateur has to stop. Now, I talk about this. Now I'm going to go backwards in time a little bit to what I've talked about before, and that's operant conditioning and how powerful operant conditioning is for second language learners. It's immense. You actually do it in your first language. You're just unaware of it because when you were a child, no one was calculating the amount of times that you do sequential approximations towards a goal, which is all operant conditioning. Now there's a guy, a Polish guy who lives in Australia, who's doing his master's in Tesla, who says he has an undergraduate in psychology or something. I don't know how. He must not have gone to a very rigorous school because he doesn't know about Thorndike or Skinner, B.F. Skinner, and that operant conditioning is massive in second language learning. He doesn't know about it. One of the things that's very good is this book, French for Reading, which does, however, use translation, but it's systematic, sequential, and it moves forward in a graded manner, unlike the people who are using these different programs from the gurus out there who don't follow this. These are put together by people who have a certifications degree and experience in education. That book is meant for graduate students who must read articles in French, obviously, and understand them and answer questions about those articles. Now, there's also another book similar to that. Well, it's the German version. It's not as good as the French. These are expensive books, but they're worth it if you're serious. And this is something. When was this one? This is 73 for this for the German book, and the French book was when originally. I think they keep renewing these, so they're not in public domain. Yeah. 68, but this would be public domain if they haven't renewed it. I think they have renewed it. They're expensive though. It's a serious book for serious learners. Now, speaking more specifically about program text, this is what this book is exactly. It's French program text. This took thousands and thousands of hours to put together. This is heavy on the teacher work and lower on the student work, as opposed to what most people do in programs, which are easy on the teacher and incredibly hard on the student. Now this is a very sequential book, very structured, very scientific, no translation in this book whatsoever. It's graded. The steps to go through it are, it took a long time. This book is unique also too, because you go through the book this direction, then when you get to the end, you turn the book over and you go back to another page like that. So there's over 400 pages in this book alone. Now this book is in public domain. It's not being published anymore. So if you're interested in this, it's possible that I could copy it and send it to you. You're going to have to pay me up front, obviously. I'm not going to send these books out to people all over the world. But that is an incredible resource that most people don't know. And I've got to reiterate again here that operant conditioning is massive. You use it, you don't know about the science unless you know about psychology, in behavioral science, that is, about operant conditioning. You don't know about it, but you use it in anything that you've gotten good at. You use it in sports all the time. So, because it's a very functional approach. I love functional approaches, and that sort of thing is used still in FSI, DLI, missionary schools, anyone that has to produce people that must become functional in the environment. Now, here's another one. This is using translation, but the thing about this is it's oral mastery. This is 1990. You have a time limit for doing English. You have English sentences, and then you must translate that into French in this case. Obviously, you could use the English and then work on and use another language, but it's already done here more or less in French. And the thing is, it gives you a time limit. Where am I at? Like, I don't know. I just picked randomly. Something like I don't know. Mr. Dupont is Mr. Dupont is a French teacher. There is 8 statements here. You have 25 seconds to translate that to be considered functional in the language. I think you should be able to do it faster than that. But it goes along the lines of Mr. Dupont is a French teacher. Mrs. Dupont is a French teacher. Mr. Moreau is a biology teacher. I can't read this. Mrs. Bennett is the English teacher. So you have to go through that. So Mr. Bennett and the Professor de Longueuil, and on to that. Mademoiselle Binet et le Professeur d'Histoire, things like that. There's many other. Goes on to one thing. The biologist examines insects. So the biologist examines these insects. And then you have another one like this is in English. Examines insects with a microscope. So you have to do. You have to think of what the hell is that. The biologist examines an insect with a microscope. Things like that. But the point is, by doing translation at the clause and sentence and then the paragraph level, you become very quick at coming up with answers. So you don't sit around and stammer. Now you have the experience. You can go talk to a young child, 5 or 6 years old, or 7, or even older, and you start questioning them on certain things, asking them what they did yesterday, and they'll stammer and stutter because they don't know how to put the language together yet. They're searching for the syntax patterns. They don't know how to do it. So when you're an adult with an L2, you do that quite a bit too. I'm watching French TV actually right now. I don't know about that song though. Anyway, you search for the syntax in L2. Now people don't want to sit around as you're an adult and wait for you to try to put things together because you look retarded. So actual practice, you need to do loads of drilling. Those people who want to act like that's not necessary are fooled because you did it. You had to do it, and anything you become good. Do you think that you just learn how to do a hockey shot and then you go out and play games? No, you got to practice that shot. You got to practice the skate. You got to practice all the components, and then you can put it all together, right? Well, the same thing goes with language. You just don't realize that's what you did when you were younger, because once again, the YouTube crowd, or The cult of amateur, they don't have credentials, they don't have experience, and they don't have research in language acquisition or actual language learning techniques or educational techniques or neuromuscular learning or brain learning, neuroscience, cognitive studies. They don't know any of it. They don't know operating conditions. They don't know any of it. So the point is that by doing this, though, by using operant conditioning, by doing drills, you'll make yourself faster, so you won't be that person that goes out to, oh, I wonder who this would be, goes to convenience stores and restaurants and grocery stores that sell things and try to babble and hamble around and kill the language. Because you have to go there knowing what you want to do. Knowing what you want to do means that you have the syntax available to you. You generate new sentences, obviously, on the fly. You can go in with canned phrases like "Hello, how am I? How am I? How are you?" Things like that. But when you want to start talking about things, you have to put things together. But you have to have done that before. So it's very important to have practice before you go out and try to practice, because nobody wants to hear you. Okay, they want to get rid of you, and that's why sometimes you'll hear people say that the person speaks well when they actually don't speak well. They're not getting paid to put up with you, or the person practicing, you as in the global and personal you here. So anyway, what I've done here is I've given you some specific resources to use in French. Now, I would say, again, French in action. Now, if you get the entire package, like I said, it's going to cost you something, but then again, you're investing in yourself, you're investing in the language, and especially if you want to become functional, it's a great way to do it. The people who want to hem-haw and take 5 years and play around, I don't care. I'm only here for the serious language learner or the serious language student who wants to know about languages and analyze languages, which is what a linguist does. I may have to talk about that again, because too many people are complete idiots about knowing what a linguist does and the between being a multilingual and a linguist. I have to be both. People who are on here saying they're linguists are not linguists. There's only 1 or 2 channels, and one is a university in Germany. That's tangent, but it needs to be said. So get French in action. If you're interested, I told you I will copy that one book and send it to you. If you pay up front, tell me where you are, obviously. Contact me. But real name, real photo to leave messages. That's just how it is. You can't leave up to the standard. I don't have time for you. Okay, well, it's going to be the news and stuff. Anyway, so the next video I think is going to be the isolating language video, which I'll talk about, which the syntax is completely different in those sorts of languages. That would be Thai, and a lot of things that people are, I'm using Thai as an example language. Isolating languages will all follow this, but there's some specific things that give people problems in Thai, and they are not being covered. Not even Stu J's covered some of them. Stu J's, of course, excellent guy. He's the guy for Thai, and I will cover another aspect that he hasn't covered yet. So anyway, that is what we got to do here. So real name, real photo, and I'll see you next time, as it were.